To Wellness on a Wednesday, live here. So it's a beautiful day out. The crowd is roaring, right? Everybody's going crazy. We have all kinds of good stuff going on here. We have free samples, we have free food, we have free literature. We have all the experts down here for World of Wellness, number 101 down here. So hopefully you're able to join us, but I'm glad you're joining us on some way. So, today we're going to talk about the number one unique thing in the nutritional industry for all different types of inflammation and pain. It's a brand new discovery. Since we launched this last year, we've had some incredible testimonials. We'll talk about some of those today. Of course, we're not making any health claims whatsoever, but we're just sharing you cases that we've had here at the clinic and elsewhere throughout the country with this formula. And oh, by the way, I should introduce myself. My name is Mike Gallagher. I'm a certified lifestyle educator. I've been in the nutrition industry almost 30 years. I'm here all week long to help answer any kind of questions, give you the guidance. And, so please feel free to ask me anything. But doing these again, when it really detailed information and education on some of these formulas. And this one does require some more in-depth discussion because a lot of people don't know what this is because it is new, a new discovery. So I just wanted to give you a little background about this formula. So it's called SPMs. It stands for Specialized Pro-Resolving Mediators. Okay. So that's a really fancy term, but the doctor who discovered this was Dr. Serhan, and that's spelled Serhan from Harvard Medical. He basically spent his entire lifetime figuring out why omegas help with all different types of inflammatory issues. Okay. So we know the omegas go back to the 60s, the actual studies and research on them, dealing with all different types of issue, pain, brain, heart, eyes, skin, hair, hormone, immune, and 500 other things. But what Dr. Sirhan found and discovered was it wasn't the omegas, it was these specialized pro-resolving mediators. And he was actually nominated for a Nobel Prize with his this discovery. And currently to date, there's over 1,600 published medical studies on this. So even though it's relatively new, there's so much more emerging research on this for almost every type of inflammatory condition, including Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, which I've never seen any published studies that anything can help. This may be able to help, okay? Including cancer. There's over 160 published medical studies that this can help with cancer, okay? Now, again, it would just be one piece of a very large puzzle for cancer, okay? But again, that's something that you wanna discuss with us, uh, you know, separately, okay? But just to let you know what we're talking about with this brand new discovery. So, I just pulled this off our website, nutritionalfrontiers.com. So this is what it looks like. This is the bottle. We have 2 sizes now. We have a 60 and 120. We came out with 120 because we had such demand for a larger size. We originally came out with the 60, but it is a huge savings if you do get the larger size. And of course, it is special all week long if you wanna take advantage of this. But this is, off our website, nutritionalfrontiers.com is the website, and you go to view flyer, and so you see the bottle, and again, we highlight a few things here: inflammation, homeostasis, healthy aging, but it does much, much, much more, okay? So on the back is the tech sheet, alright? So this is what it looks like, right? Hard copy, front and back. So off the website, we're just gonna go through this, and then we're gonna talk about what I've seen clinically as far as dosing depending on the situation that we're trying to help. Okay, so um, what Dr. Sirhan discovered is that every mammal on the planet makes this. Okay, it is part of the inflammation process. And what he found was that mice originally, 20 years ago, when he was researching this, that the unhealthy mice, the sick mice, the obese mice made very little of these, what at the time he called them resolvents. But the healthy mice, the active mice, had abundant amounts of this nutrient, this ingredient, this resolvent. And so, what he was able to do is he was able to inject these resolvents into the sick mice and the obese mice, and he became healthy very quickly. And so he hypothesized does the same thing happen with humans? And it took him 20 years of research to figure out that it does. It does. So, folks, these things don't happen overnight, but this is, like I said, so exciting, so incredible that we have something like this. It's very rare when you have a brand new discovery in the nutritional world, but this is one of those times. And so you can see here on the text sheet that it's in our bloodstream, it's our nervous system tissue, and it's even found in breast milk. So even pregnant women, nursing women, they make abundant amounts of these SPMs. So this is totally safe for anybody that fits in, to that category. Which again, we're very usually we're handcuffed. We are, just due to legal and liability. There's very few things that we could recommend if a pregnant or nursing mother was having some type of pain or inflammation. This is one of those, completely safe. Okay. So that's the whole point with this formula, is that it is resolving all inflammatory issues. Okay. Now, even though this is in every mammal, typically make very little of it. And so, from a supplement standpoint, we have to extract it from omega 3s. Okay. So, but it's not easy. It's a very, very technical process. And it's really like a 3-step process that we go through. So, first we have omegas. Okay. And then we have to use certain nutrients and enzymes that breaks it down into what's called pre-resolving mediators. And then we have to go through another step that then to get it to pro-resolving mediators. Okay. So it's very, very, very advanced. Um, the supplier on this that we get it from is the same source as our regular fish oil, which actually is a German pharmaceutical manufacturing licensed facility. They just choose to make nutraceuticals instead of pharmaceuticals. But in the industry, that's the highest level that you can have to make something, is in a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. So, of course, we test for all impurities, just like we do our regular fish oil. But again, this is the technical side of this, and why you don't see that many companies that are actually using SPMs, because of how advanced that it is. Okay, so now sometimes people ask, well, can I just take regular fish oil and want to be the same thing? And the answer is no. No. And because of this 3-step process, it's physically impossible to consume as much fish oil from a supplement to get it to these SPMs. All right. So there's only traces amount in regular fish oil. Now, does fish oil have its benefits? Sure. Once we resolve the inflammation or pain, then we can transition to regular fish oil. Okay. But this is, like I said, this would be our starting point for any type of issue, inflammatory issue. Okay. So that is how we look at it. That is how we derive from it. Okay. But that is really exciting with tons of studies and research. Now, let's get a little more deeper and technical on this. So, the SPMs do not block the inflammatory process or response to trauma, but they prevent the excessive inflammation. So the drugs, the medications block, right? That's not what this is doing. We're actually, again, um, modulating, adjusting that inflammatory process. Okay, and of course, the drugs, when they block that, it causes some other potential side effects. Right, affects the liver, kidney, GI, all different types of issues. Right, so we're trying to give you healthier, better options than the medications when it comes to these type of pain inflammatory issues. Right, and again, it promotes tissue homeostasis. We're back to normal functioning, and it controls the duration and magnitude of inflammation. So think of it like if your house is on fire, right? You have the fire hose. You need full pressure to reduce that fire. While your body, that fires your pain, the inflammation. So we need full throttle, super aggressive to get that pain inflammation under control. Right? That's what we're trying to do here. So it's resolving all the mediators because, again, the role is facilitating natural resolution of the inflammatory response. Now, we can get even more technical here. And so you can break down SPMs into four major categories: resolvins, lipoxins, protectants, and maresins. Okay. Again, if you're into biochemistry, great. We just want you to be aware. And again, there's published studies on every one of these, and each one has a special skill set. So think of it like a basketball team. So you have the point guard, right? Then you have the center and so forth and so on. Each one has a special skill. In this case, one of these helps with all heart issues. One helps with all pain inflammatory issues. One helps with all brain issues, so forth and so on. Right? So same, but the whole family is called SPMs. So that's how we separate this, but that's how technical that we can get into. It also will have, as it says here, potent immunoregulatory benefits. It inhibits the production of pro-inflammatory mediators and helps regulate white blood cells. So one marker that medical doctors test for is called C-reactive protein. It's an inflammatory marker in your blood. And there are studies that show that SPMs reduce CRP by 46%. 46. So that's just one example, of how effectively this can help. And as it says here, can help regulate white blood cells. So boost your immune system. And for COVID situations, there are 2 published medical studies, if someone has COVID, that it can actually reduce cytokine storm. It also is fantastic for people post COVID long hauler issues, where we've had numerous case studies with people with brain issues, such memory and brain fog. In fact, one of the cases that I've talked to with another doctor had a woman in her 70s post COVID, had extreme brain fog and memory issues for over 6 months, tried a lot of different supplements, a lot of different things, did 6 a day of the SPM, and in one day, folks, 100% better with post COVID brain fog. The other post COVID issue that we see a lot is the cough, that nagging lung cough issue that they can't get rid of. And at 6 a day, every single person that I've seen that recommended this to, it's worked every single time within a week. Okay. So those are just 2 examples among many that we've seen that can help with any type of post COVID situation. Right. It also helps stimulate tissue regeneration. So if you have joint pain, cartilage, knee issues, right? Back, hip, any of those kind of really tough issues. If you combine SPMs with HA plus for any of those cartilage issues, it will dramatically help. It will speed up the healing process. Now, the HA plus is more specific to stimulate cartilage, regenerate cartilage, but this will also help. So it's a great 1-2 combination. If it is a tendon ligament issue, so think shoulders, sprains, strains, okay? If you combine SPM with our green lipid muscle, both at 6 a day, fantastic results for those, okay? So if you know somebody, family member, friend, neighbor, please pass this information on to them. Okay. So, again, really, really important. So, again, we just listed some of the studies here with SPM. As I mentioned there's pain scores, reducing arthritis there, knee arthritis, patients with knees. We looked at SED rate there, blood tester for marker as well, also reduced in those. Okay. Many different animal studies helping with all different types of GI issues like colitis. Now, again, with colitis, we would recommend also our IgG, which was just named the ingredient of the year, by the way, in the industry on the GI sector, as well as our GI Complete. So that would be a great program. Kidney damage, we would combine the SPMs with one of our tinctures called kidney and bladder tincture. Even periodontists, there are a couple holistic dentists that we're working with that are using SPMs very successfully. So gum disease and even asthma, right? We talked about lung issues, right? The cough with post-COVID. But if you combine this with our Air Max formula, or you do our Air Max challenge, just take 2 and see if you don't notice the difference in 15 minutes. Okay. That is a great 1-2 combination for any lung issues. So the list goes on and on. Again, it basically works more downstream than omegas on the inflammatory cascade. Right? So we're catching it at the source of the inflammatory process. So this is what I was referring to at the beginning with Dr. Sirhan. So while SPMs are produced naturally in humans, every single human makes it, the ability to produce them may be compromised in the setting of obesity and aging. I would also include pain and inflammation, right? So this is one of the ways and reasons why we age is the lack of SPMs. So it also can help on the aging process or anti-aging benefits to this. Okay, which is pretty cool as well, right? We now classify age management. So all those terms this can help with. So when I say, well, I don't have any of the inflammatory issues, but I want to do something to help slow down the aging process, SPMs can do that, folks, right? So since SPMs are involved in the active regulated process of resolving acute inflammation, right, and managing the return to tissue homeostasis, supplement with it may provide benefit and relief to those struggling. Okay. So, like anything else, the dosage is critical. Okay. So, the dosage on the bottle says take 2 daily. That's if you don't have any issues at all, folks. That's if once the condition is under control, that would be more preventative or maintenance. But if you have any of these type of inflammatory issues, okay, then we would focus on the pain score, right? So if you came here today and you're in pain, you need pain, for example, and you say, do you have anything for the pain? My number one question I ask you is on a scale 1 to 10, how much pain you're in right now? Or if you're walking up the steps, because some people have no pain walking, but when they go up the steps, it's much more painful. So I want to know how much pain you're in from 1 to 10. What we found through clinical testing here in other practices that we work with, that if your pain on a scale 1 to 10 is 5 or higher, we would recommend a starting point. Again, the key here is temporary loading dose of 6 a day. So let's break that down throughout 2 breakfast, to lunch to dinner, always with food. Okay, 6 a day. If you have trouble with the lunch dose, then we just go 3 breakfast, 3 dinner. We will know in one bottle, folks. We usually know in just a couple of days if this is working, but we would definitely know in one bottle. Once that pain is down to a 1 or 0, and we back it down to 2 a day. Okay, 2 a day. If you tell me your answer is 4 or less on the pain scale, so it's like a nagging knee, back discomfort, it's there, right? But it's not really acute. It's more chronic pain, is what we would classify that. Then we would recommend the starting point to be 4 a day, 2 breakfast, 2 dinner. And then once you feel the pain relief, and you will know in one bottle, then we would back it down to 2 a day. Okay. If you're just taking this for preventative, just 2 a day. Now, one of the first cases that I have seen this work, I wanted to share with you a few extraordinary, incredible, amazing testimonials. So one of the first cases that I worked with was at a very large clinic out near Lancaster. And one of the staff members, so she's a female, she was in a car accident 20 years ago, and she's been in pain ever since. And they literally have tried every supplement known to mankind. They've even tried prolotherapy. They've tried stem cells therapy spent thousands of dollars on her pain. Nothing helped. When we came out with the SPM, I said, try this. And in 4 days, 50% pain relief after 20 years. And within 30 days, folks, 0% pain. 20 years, no pain. Okay. The doctors there were blown away. The staff was blown away. She was super excited because she suffered all these years and we were to help her that quickly. Okay. Another case was a chiropractor locally who had a pain person, had lots of different surgeries, neck surgery, back surgery, hip surgery, called him the $6 million man. Had all different types of pain issues. Nothing was helping. He tried the SPM, folks. 1 day, 100% pain relief. The chiropractor has been practicing over 20 years. He said he's never seen this before. He's blown away. Okay. Another case was a massage therapist. And he accidentally, the challenge with massage therapists is their thumbs, all that rubbing and, day in, day out, the wear and tear on the thumbs. And he was in tremendous pain. And again, he tried a lot of other formulas, a lot of other supplements. Nothing was helping. Okay. And so he was ready to just come quit. Like he was ready to have thumb surgery. It was that bad. And we said, hold on a second, let's try this. And within a week, 100% better, his thumbs. Okay. And we gave his life back. So we've seen this time and time and time again. As I mentioned already, post-COVID issues, especially brain fog and cough, 6 a day. Okay, with that. Okay. So generally speaking, 4 to 6 is what we usually recommend. And we'll know in one bottle. But sometimes we can need to be even more aggressive. And so there's a very famous doctor that we work with. He's been doing talks with us. His name is Dr. Bob Rakowski, and Bob is out of Houston, Texas, and he's been practicing over 30 years. And Bob's a very aggressive kind of practitioner. He wants people to get immediate results. Okay. And so Bob has many different titles. He's a chiropractor, clinical nutritionist, naturopath, diplomat of sports nutrition. He deals with cancer patients and professional athletes out of Houston, Texas. And he's very well known in our world. Okay. And so Dr. Bob recommends for some with severe pain issues even going higher. And his loading dose is 2 every 2 hours for 12 hours straight. And Bob is using the words miraculous using SPMs. And so most people don't need this much, but I do want to mention this to you in case you try 6 a day and you do not feel any relief at all, then we would recommend this 1-day super aggressive loading dose. So I recently had another doctor who tried this, and here's the situation. Here's the case. So he's a chiropractor, and he was working with this male in his 70s who had just classic arthritis. And on a pain scale out of 10, he is a 7 and has been for 20 years. And even doing the adjustments wasn't really helping him. And so when the SPMs came out, he tried the 6 a day, didn't see any relief. So the doctor called me and said, "What do we do now?" I said, "Well, let's try the Dr. Bobrakowski protocol. We got nothing to lose. He's been suffering for 20 years. Let's try this." So he did. And in 1 day, folks, he went from a 7 to a 0. He called the office the next day, just incredible amount of joy that after 20 years of suffering with pain, we were able to help him in 1 day with the SPMs. So I've been doing this a long time, almost 30 years myself. I've seen some incredible supplements. I've seen some incredible formulas. I've seen some incredible things here at the clinic as well as elsewhere. And I can tell for sure that I've seen things with SPMs that I've never seen anywhere with any situation that I've seen with the SPMs. Okay. So if you've never tried it, you should try this, especially when it's on special, right? This week. But like I said, even doctors, even the allopathic doctors can't argue with 1,600 published medical studies on the benefits of this. Okay. So just keep that in mind, but that's how we want to look at this. Okay. So, again, 4 to 6 is the recommended. That's the key number. All right. Any questions about this? Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, what kind of condition diagnosis do they have? Yeah. So there, if you just go to PubMed.com, and then you type in pro resolving mediators, and then you just type in arthritis or any condition, any diagnosis, it will give you the studies. Okay. There's many. There's literally hundreds. So Sarahan has the research behind it, but again, he didn't actually do the studies. The studies were done by other individuals. So again, that's kind of the difference there between the two. Okay. Yeah. So when you mentioned to a doctor that is that on that level, Dr. Sirhan from Harvard discovered this, was nominated for Nobel Prize, that gets their attention. That gets their attention. Okay. So that's how this works. That's how we would dose this. Is there any other questions on this with anything else? Yes, question. Pain, all inflammation, pain and inflammation. Yeah. So X Flame has worked. It's one of our original forms. Question is, how does this compare to X Flame? X Flame has some other ingredients in it, some also really good ingredients, and for a lot of people, it's helped many people, right? But if it hasn't, even if we did the loading dose of 12 a day of X Flame, and it still hasn't resolved pain, then I would recommend this. If you've got great results with X-Flame or Inflame or Turmeric Plus or CBD, we have lots of options with pain. If you're doing well with any of those, there's no need to switch. Okay. But if you haven't, if you're not 100% better, then I would recommend one bottle of this. Okay. So that's how I would differentiate between this and the other really good other anti-inflammatory formulas that we have. Does that make sense? Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So because this is a mega um, supplement extraction, if you're on blood thinners, we would recommend that you get permission from your PCP or cardiologist. Again, there's two different types of blood thinners. There's the type that you get tested, such as Coumadin, warfarin, every 4 to 6 weeks, and they make the adjustment. Okay. And then there's the newer forms, Eliquis or Elta, where there's no testing. And those we would, just for general safe, we would recommend that you get authorization, permission from the PCP or cardiologist with blood thinners. It is an omega source. Okay. All other medications, though, just take an hour apart, will not interfere. It will just complement. Okay. So, again, keep that in mind with that. But great question. Any other questions? Yes. Great question. Question is for those who can't hear. What if you have an allergy to fish? Since this is fish derived, right? But this is not the protein from fish. That's what you're allergic to. And even our omega 3D, I've asked that question to our supplier of our fish oil and our SPMs, Todd Parker, who's been also been on this, been on many talks with us, and it's completely safe. Okay, you're not allergic to this. That you are allergic to the protein. We're not using a protein source of this. Okay, and it goes through a lot of distillation processes and steps. Totally safe, even if you're allergic to fish. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, Phil? Will this be helpful for growing pains with a 12-year-old? The answer is probably. It's worth trying. Typically, again, that's where the bones are extending out there during puberty. It can help relieve, you. So anywhere we would compare it to an aspirin and Tylenol, Advil, any non-steroidal, then this could help. Absolutely, we're trying. Okay. Anything else? Okay, folks. So thank you so much. My time is up. I'll be in the back if you have any more questions, right? But again, if this is you or someone else that you know, it's trying. It's worth it. It's worth trying. That's all we can ask. Okay, could totally change a person's life in just a couple days. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless. Have a great day.